1, 2, 3, respect the game.
Welcome to ONV, Respect the Game podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here. We're going to get started going around and give our name and everything so we can get this party going.
Hello, I'm Shalante Clements, once a player and a coach.
Okay, I was gonna say you got to define the player.
Yeah.
JJ Foster, not a player. I'm a member of the community, a coach in Fort Wayne. Pleasure to be here.
Mark Muhammad, entrepreneur, community activist, and love the kids in our community.
I am C Stats. I'm a member of Neutral Voices, and I'm here, just because I love sports and I love the conversation, and I like being in this group of people that just like to have good conversation.
And I'm Coach Ayers, coach, retiree.
You like that?
Enjoying life.
He ain't gonna let us forget that part.
Every time, but just like everybody's saying, enjoy my community and want it to get better.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk a little about the positive of our coaches, parents, and our youth. On the bright side, we want to give some input about they are good parts of of our community and our coaches and our parents,
yes,
and our youth and stuff. So
I like to say a lot of kids are actually self-motivated, and they don't require a lot of attention, and they are able to succeed, in sports and balance school as well. So you do get some kids like that where you don't have to put a lot of effort into, and those kids do excel well. So.
What I like, and I think JJ is one of them, but I like the positive is now when we see young men and women doing interviews, they are very articulate. They are very precise in their speech, like they've been coached and trained, and that gives them a good thing, and that's on the coach's part and then on the parents' part, that they are presented well for the community. And mostly, we haven't had any bad episodes with athletes in the city, so, for the most part, our athletes have, carried themselves well in the city.
I'd agree with everything that that you just said, Clarence. And when we talk about, we've talked before, past on our episodes about student athletes doing the right thing.
Right.
I would just like to throw out, some examples of guys that have come through Fort Wayne community, that have come through our city.
Yes.
And they have not only excelled athletically, but they've continued to excel professionally.
Yes.
First person comes to mind is somebody like V.J. Beecham.
Uh-huh.
V.J. Beecham was a Harding candidate or a Harding student, and then when they closed with the New Haven, was a graduate.
Yes.
Got into Notre Dame. VJ played, professionally, bounced around,
Right.
Overseas, some of the G League teams, and then you know what he said? Hey, I'm gonna use my Notre Dame degree.
Right.
I'm gonna go out here to Seattle, and I'm gonna be a big wig at Amazon, making six figures.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Yes.
That is a prime example. I can look at a Rashida Ray, who is, again, don't get me caught up by the acronyms with nursing. She's a nurse practitioner, whatever the highest level of nursing is. Harding graduate, athlete. Now she's working in the field of nursing. Graduated from Valparaiso University. I mean, the list goes on.
Is she not coaching anymore?
Yeah, she's Mark Muhammad's daughter-in-law. And her name is Rashida Muhammad.
She didn't she?
She did.
Yeah,
she was at Northrop. She was at Northrop for a short time. But I think Deion Kimbrough, a doctor, Harding graduate. Jalen Smith, who's still just signed with
The Raiders, yes.
Okay.
And
That name got my dad.
but if you look at that young man, I mean, not only is he excelling in football, but I mean, business ventures.
Right.
He's putting his fingerprints in a lot of different things.
Right.
Trey Essex.
Right.
Northwestern grad. Working with the NFL, doing things. Life after their sport.
Right.
So You know,
Yeah, and I also want to say, we got like Rayfield Davis.
Yes,
who's
I was thinking
coming
about him.
back into the community.
Yes.
And giving back to our south side of, on the south side, making sure we have basketball camps and giving out, items for them to utilize when they go back to school, and I just remember that brother being at Southside, being who he was to who he is now. It's,
Right.
Life changing.
It's a turnaround.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the Beasley brothers. Look at how, and they're exposing our community to a sport that we wasn't really familiar with or we didn't really get involved with, but they have taken soccer and brought it to our community. They're teaching people soccer, young kids soccer. They're staying active in the community with soccer. So they went through Fort Wayne. I think they were Southside alums, right?
They were Southside.
Yeah, so... But they came back, and when I think his first training, he had something at Southside. So they gave back a whole lot in the world of soccer into Fort Wayne.
Yeah, and then I got some couple people I'd like to add on too. First of all, a couple people who never left this community, and till today they are an asset to this community. Bryce Miles,
Yeah.
and what he do for children. Not only he used sports as a vehicle to teach them about life lessons, and then he also exposes them to life resources and, outside of sports. The Muhammad boys, Dre Muhammad, Nikhil Muhammad, DeMarcus Muhammad. DeMarcus is an attorney. Nikhil and Dre, they're responsible for assisting parents to getting their kids to college. I also want to mention some athletes I currently work with in the NIL space, Deontay Craig, who's at Iowa. And I'm just going to read this. He's set to graduate either this spring or fall, and he's working towards a sports study degree and a minor in communication. And you do a lot in the community service within programs in Iowa. And he's done food delivery and worked with Big Brothers and Big Sisters Association. His parents who are the ones who inspired him. Keon Brooks Jr., he's set to graduate in March with a business degree. Who inspired him was his dad. Another one is Ayanna Patterson. This is, I believe, Ayanna's second year at
UConn.
And she's already going to graduate with a bachelor's degree in sociology. And she created a basketball camp to raise funding and awareness for autism. She also created Athlete of the Year, Women's Advocate of the Year, and her inspiration was her father. Now, the common denominator with most of the people I just spoke about, to me, were their parents and specifically their fathers, like these athletes just said.
Yeah.
Keon Brooks Sr. You can walk in almost any gym and see him working with his son, but not only with his son, and this goes back to Mr. Hollins and probably far beyond him.
Right.
When you see a black man working with his children, that's a plus. But when you see a black man working with his children plus other people's children,
Right.
Unity, yeah.
that's a double plus. Andre Patterson is another one.
Yes.
Andre Patterson is a big asset, just like Keon Brooks Sr. is a big asset in the community. Deon Craig is also, you see him and his father, you see them together, and all the people I mentioned and all the people the panel mentioned, the common denominator, when you see these individuals out in the community, they're respectful.
Yeah.
You know what they
Right.
make you proud.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's come from the homie rearing it right. Like J.J. Foster. J.J. Foster, his mom, if you ever met her,
Yes, the sweetest woman.
and she walk in the room,
Oh, she's the sweetest woman.
I don't care. But
Yeah.
it's people like that that's our assets to our community. We need people like that. And I'm glad for the show today that we can share love and show love
Yeah.
And
to people
recognize.
like that and recognize people like that.
Yeah, and it takes, and what you say, you know, to see the father, because seeing him, Andre, I've known Andre a long time, and his son, Andre Jr., also
Right,
played
Andre,
at UCLA or USC. I knew it was a California school. UCLA. And he, I believe now. So he took his, you know, his knowledge and, you know, beyond sports and became something different.
Right.
And I think that, you know, tell their kids, have something else, you know, because you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
That's always been a thing. But, you know, to have that knowledge, and like you say, to carry yourself with respect and mannerisms, and, you know, because they already putting tags on us, negative tags and negative labels on us. They're looking for that. But when we can go before and present that we are not what you're thinking we are, I think Chris Webber was one of them when he said out of high school, he didn't do interviews, but people thought it was because he was smug. He just said he didn't feel comfortable. He had to take classes to be able interviews, and there's no that we have, you know, people in our community that is doing that, that's trying to better themselves and present themselves better. And not only that, they're coming back to the community and doing something. Rod Woodson, we can't forget Rod this city and did things for the youth of this community. So it's good to have those people in the community that come back to the community.
Correct.
I just want to elaborate on what you saying, Clarence. That's what I call, you know, when I talk to young people, what are you prepared to do when your ball goes flat?
Yeah.
And your ball is going to go flat. Some people, their ball goes flat in middle school.
Right.
Some in high school. Some has, you mentioned Rod. Rod played as many years in the NFL as LeBron James played in the NBA.
Right.
But that ball went flat.
Yes.
Michael Jordan's ball went, you know, what are they prepared? Like you said, Rod, a Hall of Famer, had a passion for kids, still does his camp, coaches, went in the broadcast booth. I look at somebody like a Eugene Parker. You think about what he did. Eugene was a standout basketball player.
Right.
Eugene chose, he could have went to the NBA.
Right.
You talk about having goals and talking about, hey, okay, sports is one thing,
Right.
but I'm set over here. He chose to chase his dreams of being, you know, an attorney. And that's what you have to understand. You know, what are you prepared to do? Like you said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, Tracy Foster, again, we talking Tracy and Rod, you know, car dealerships, coming back. They never forgot their roots. Right. And again, we talked about it on a past episode. They didn't let their sport use them. They used their sport to not just better themselves, but to better their communities.
You know what? I had a conversation with Omar Cooper Jr., who's a wide receiver at IU. Because he was born in Indianapolis, and he really doesn't know a lot of Fort Wayne people other than his family, I kind of gave him, I'm pretty sure his family did, but I kind of gave him a brief history of who he is.
Yeah.
And he was looking at me, and I said, I don't care where you was born at, you Fort Wayne. I said, the Cooper and Reese's, they from Fort Wayne. So, and he's a good guy too. He's you can tell when we grow up and we branch off and we go to other cities and whatever to live and whatever, but the roots is back here in Fort Wayne. Is a good place to grow up with. You know, it's good people here.
Yes, it is. Now, Mr. Muhammad, you had mentioned your son, and Mike Lito, over AWP, right?
Right, but he took over AWP, but AWP dissolved, and now his company, he's partner, but he's a senior partner with a company called Traction.
Yeah, but for those that don't know, AWP was Athletes with a Purpose. Is that the acronym it was?
Correct.
And I like the they didn't just look at your body or your physicalness that you were going to make it. They gave you standards. They gave you worked with the whole person and not just the athletes. And I think too many times, you know, because we talked about on the previous, you know, we don't think of the mental health of athletes. We just want to, you know, use your body. But AWP, they helped you find your purpose if it wasn't football, if it wasn't basketball. Right. But if it was, they were there to help you. And I think we need more programs like that.
Right. Yeah. Bryce Miles and Traction.
Yeah.
That's what they got. That's what type of program. Actually, Traction done elevated higher than AWP because they have more services like the mental health part of it, you know, the academic part. It's more kids that got scholarships from that program than AWP. And Bryce Miles is doing a wonderful job in the
Yes,
community.
Yeah, let's applaud them.
Bryce Miles and his wife.
Yeah, that's good. That's
So,
good.
you know, it's great that we're bringing these great names up, you know, as far as like making sure that the community understand that these people are in our community and doing the work. And that's so important. Recently, I went to my grandson's honor breakfast, and to see our young people in there getting honored made me think, well, we need to start talking about the positive things what our kids are stepping up doing and the things that they're doing. And I want to give applause to our parents, you know, because like we was talking earlier, how we got a lot of single parents, you know, that's doing both jobs,
Right.
You know, going to work, you know, making sure everybody getting fed, making sure they're in the right position, with the right coaches, to make sure they're getting taken care of. So
yeah, you know, shout out to the parents that are, you know, actually looking for the proper program and not just the popular program.
Correct.
Because too many times we go with the popular and it's not the right fit for our children. Because, you know, there's an organization in Fort Wayne. It's been here forever and ever and a day. And I just wish it would be better because there's been a lot of athletes that came through it. But not all the people that work there are people that you want to have your kids around. And that's a sad indictment for our community.
That's important.
You know, so you got to find the right program for your child.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep it positive, as Mr. Ayers said. This
Yeah.
is positive.
Yeah. And I'm keeping it positive. I'm just saying you
we
got
hear
to.
you. That's a whole nother segment.
Okay.
But I would like to say, because, and again, she probably gonna kill me. And again, there are parents. I'm gonna single out one parent, but I know there's others out there. But for those of you that know Paula Bridges, Paula Bridges is a prime example of everything y'all just said.
Right.
She would call me, knowing JJ, hey, I'm a single parent. Hey, what do you have? I was at Urban League at the time. What do you have towards scholarships? What do you have towards athletics?
Right.
And if any of you that don't know who she is, you know, look at her. Her daughter is Miss Indiana, African American young lady, Miss Indiana. I mean, all the kids straight A students,
graduates.
Yes.
Graduates out working, and we talk about giving back in the community. But she was a parent. It was funny, and again, when I was at Urban League, there was a national scholarship that they gave the award out by the region. So I called her. I told her. I said, "There's a very good chance, you know, you get the scholarship. Just do the work." And I called her up. I called up about 10 different parents. Everybody was busy. Paula, she told me. She said, "Oh yeah, we going to do this at the other." I said, "Paula, hey, this money is there." Made that U-turn. She came, filled it out. Hey, the rest is history. Kid got that money, and that's what, you know. So with each and every one of her kids, when they came through, she made that call. And, you know, she always appreciated me, but what she didn't understand, I appreciated her because I didn't do anything different for her that I offered to others.
Right.
She stepped through that door, you know. But again, like you said, single parents, you know, do what you have to do.
But okay, Ms. Shalante.
That's also the coaches going the extra mile. Like you said, you didn't do anything extra for her, but you was still going the extra mile to put that information out there to help those students, you know, in situations where they didn't have the opportunity to possibly get a scholarship if you weren't reached out. But it's the parents and the coaches working together really to bind that relationship. So
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. You know, I've experienced some great coaches in, you know, Fort Wayne. Now, I'm not the super athletic. You know, I got skills, but I knew that I didn't have the athletic skills. I mean, I didn't grow. Let's be true. I didn't grow. In my mind, I tell you, I'm 6'11". In my mind, I'm a 6'11" power forward in my mind. But let's be honest. But here's the thing. As I said, you know, Tom Hogan at Wayne, he was one of those that actually cared about people. And Larry Cox, I cannot tell y'all how much this man has impacted my life. Larry Cox was my track coach from middle school all the way through high school. and he was one of those that, like JJ, would want to know what's going on. I mean, it wasn't just like get out here and run. If you wasn't performing, it wasn't just are you hurt. It was like what's going on. You're not yourself today, and we need those coaches. We need those people to surround our athletes, and also not just care about what losses, but what are you losing in personal life, or what are you going through personally that we can help and help better your situation.
So that you say that, how big is trust in how big is that factor in playing into with the kids, like for them to trust the coaches, what I'm saying?
I think it's huge. I think for especially the relationship with the coaches and the youth.
Okay.
Because you have to give them your time.
Yeah.
You can't be a part-time coach.
Okay.
Starting out, you all rah, 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 then all of a sudden you disappear. So they get that all the time. They need that coach who's going to be there during the rough times and through, during the good times.
Okay.
There's that adage, kids and people they don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Oh,
Right.
That's profound.
It's really that.
That's profound.
So-
Yeah.
And I think that's just so positive, man, that when we keep our kids in our life throughout their upbringing, and, they respect you even when they become grown. They come back. I know you don't have a lot of, your former players come and thank you for being who you were, and doing the things that you did to make them be successful, not just on the basketball court, but just in life, period. And I just want to give a shout out to all of our coaches that's doing that.
Yeah.
That's making our kids be responsible
Right.
for their actions.
Adding that structure to their life because they look for discipline.
Right.
You
They
might
want
not
it.
think they want it. That's what they really drain into. So.
Right. Go ahead.
Then another thing, any child that's watching this or parent, sometimes a child find their stride or themselves later on in life or through life.
Right.
For example, my oldest son, he found his stride later in life, but what he found was a good stride. He's the one of the main producer on, I guess, the video called The North about Northside High School.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he had that talent. I didn't even, so that was surprising to me. It wasn't surprising to him. But I know he had winner in him because he had my DNA.
Preach it. But and I want to commit I want to commit every coach that's sitting on our panel. From working with coaching and young people, and not only with the system, you did it and you took kids and exposed them to different stories. Y'all have taken kids and exposed them to a portion of life that they may have never seen. It's people that would not have loved if it wasn't for y'all,
right,
or have been exposed to things that if it was not for y'all. Right. And JJ, as you say, the care and the concern, like your mom. Your mom is a very caring and loving woman.
Yes,
so
she is. Yes,
so
she is.
that you get it naturally. I'm gonna say, I wish every coach would pick up traits that we have from the coaches that we have here and just have that love, to have that concern and have that wraparound feel with every person that they touch. Like Coach Harris said, I know there's kids that's coming back to y'all 20, 30 years saying, thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Well, the parents too. And I want to take this time and Mike Ayers is an excellent person to put your children around because he really cares about the child. And I just want to personally, as a black man, as a father, tell him thank you. Tell J.J. Foster, Bruce Stevens, Al Gooden, C.C. Full Love, Coach Brown, the whole Harding staff, because it take a community to raise these children.
Yeah, and they
That
do
is true.
take a community. And I like the way you said that, man, because when you do the things that you love to do, from what God gave you that talent to do, you know, it's a blessing. You know, it makes you feel good inside that you're doing the right thing. I just want to praise God for the opportunity to be taught from my mentor,
Right.
Pastor Ernest Starks, to show me how to be a young man, how to be a man, and how to help your community out. You know, he did things that people wouldn't think that he would have done, being a pastor, and then second, you know, being a black man going, you know, having these luxury cars and, you know, filling up his whole Cadillac full of young men, and you know, it's in awe, you know. So I could go on and on about how great he was, but it's just been a blessing, man, to see, you know, we just keep using JJ for example because he's in our community, he's in our school system, and he's doing the things to help our community to be successful, but he also helping our black kids understand how to be successful, and that's just, you know, I gotta give him his due.
Well, you know what? I mean, between you and Mark, y'all know how we were raised.
Yes.
And I tell people, I mean, I'm not doing anything other than how I was raised.
Right.
You know, Weiser Park guy. We grew up in that park. So when you talk about a community, it literally was a community. We got guys like, I think I've been knowing you since I was, 5, whatnot, you know. And, you know, to Mark's point, anything you ever did, think about, I always was supporting.
Yeah.
I had, you know, I coached the AAU team, sponsored. Nancy Spencer sponsors. I could have took away like everybody else and stayed out in speeds and been in all the air conditioned gym.
Yeah.
Mike had a tournament, I'm there.
Yeah.
And he knew it. But it wasn't like I'm doing it to think he owed me something. No, I'm doing it because I know what he stood for.
Yeah.
And I wanted the kids, like I say, to be exposed like I was. We're going to be exposed to all sides of the track, not just one side of the track.
Right.
And they're going to be ideal conditions. We're going to go over here and learn how to shoot over this tree branch.
Right.
You know, we're going to go over here and, you know, the rim ain't 10 feet high. You know, there's going to be some cracks in the floor. That's how we going to come up and learn. We got some character, how you deal with adversity. These are all things they calculated, they work. But, I do. I appreciate you. And, again, we already talked, Mr. Muhammad, everything that you've done. I appreciate everybody up here. I just met Miss Tay, my girl out of Detroit. But, I mean, you know, the knowledge that she drops, and I appreciate talking to her.
She bring that flavor.
Off air. You know, very intelligent young lady. And I tell you this, a lot of positive feedback. And, you know, we got people all over the country that watch this podcast. That's real.
That is real.
And they speak highly of you. But no, I definitely appreciate the segment where you said bringing it back, and you know, all positive.
So, you know, with the last part of it, you know, let's talk about our coaches and the positive things that our coaches, you know, bring to the table. I know we've been going back and forth with it, but you know, let's end our segment with the
coaches that's taking that extra mile to like dig into they players' grades outside of like the season and stuff like that. That goes a long way because a lot of times kids getting ready for college might already have like tons of scholarships and they're ready, you know, to go, but then they get that lack of urge to finish out and they a lot of times fall off. So we got coaches that sticking with them all the way throughout, you know, not just getting a scholarship and being done. So I commend those coaches for that.
Yeah, and I think that's huge what you just said because a lot of times seasoned coaches is just that.
Yeah.
When their season is in, they coaching you. But as soon as that season's over with, you know, they looking at that next group who I got next year.
Right.
Who's coming up next.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of finishing the whole segment of that career. And, you know, if
believe it or not, it helps.
it does. I'm just saying if you don't have them coaches, like you said, that do the whole long haul of it, our kids sometimes get lost. You know, they could, like you say, be a 5-star athlete
Right.
ready to go to a big time school and lose everything because
They couldn't finish.
they couldn't finish and they didn't have nobody pushing them
Right.
to make sure they stayed on
Track.
track.
Yep.
You know, so I commend the coaches that are out there doing that, making sure that they're doing the things they're supposed to be doing to help our youth. And I'm hoping that somebody, coaches-wise, hearing this,
Yeah.
understand that that's something that we need to do as
Right.
a whole,
Right.
Right.
as a whole group.
Yes.
You know, and let's stay positive.
You know, I want to give a shout out to the coaches, men and women that walk in integrity, that
Right.
show the children, our youth, that you can be respectable. And it's not, trying to be somebody that you're not, or you trying to be some other ethnicity, but we walk with respect and integrity. And I commend all the coaches that, that keep dirt off their names. They actually show the kids, I'm living you can live. I'm
Right.
living the life that you should be living. I commend all the coaches that do that.
And I'm gonna give a shout out once again to Harding High School, that staff that helped me with my children, and over at Elmhurst, Roosevelt, Northfleet, and them, because the thing I love, we worked as a team. Yeah. If anything went down, I got that phone call, or it already had been checked before I got there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
And I'm glad you said worked as a team, because that's the point I wanted to make. Everything that you guys said, you talk about coaches working with kids out of season, parents need to understand that coach is not being nosy, that coach is not meddling.
Right.
It's a team. He's trying to help your child succeed. So understand it for what it is. Because you do, and again, I don't know if you guys realize, but you get some parents like, what you got? This ain't basketball season. What you doing involved with that? Football season been over, man. Why you worried about it? But to you guys' point, which y'all just preached, it's a year-long process. Coach JJ is going to be Coach JJ, whether it's, in the summertime, the wintertime, whatever. My moniker is still there. Whether guys graduate and come back home, I'm always going to be Coach JJ. So when you have that help, accept that help and understand, recognize what it is.
Yeah.
Hit
So-
us with some Detroit flavor. Come on.
Show us some Detroit flavor. You know how we get down in the D. No, but I'm gonna say that programs like study halls and staying active on the kids, parents, like they said, do a big, flavor in there. And like y'all talked about the sidebar, the things that y'all don't have to deal with here, I guess in Fort Wayne, kids might be dealing with back in Detroit. So the kids that do make it out, out of the struggle, I guess, or whatever, we just, really commend them for that,
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So this has been a wonderful segment.
Yes.
I really appreciate the positive vibe that we gave out today. We want to say bless you to the audience for continue to come into and listen to what we have to say to everybody. We signing off. May God bless you and continue to keep supporting us. Thank you.
Respect the game on 3. 1, 2, 3, respect the game.